Namaskar. W- Welcome to Opinionated. The topic for today is the major failure of Secret Service in preventing the near assassination of Donald Trump. We will explore this topic in detail. The reason we are doing this is because in the last 3 days, we've seen a lot of new evidence in front of us, and that necessitates a deeper dive into this topic and explore how did this happen, where did this happen, what were the operational gaps, and all these we'll explore in a lot more detail today. So, without further ado, let's deep dive into this topic. So, the first thing we will go into is the Secret Service budget, right? The budget of Secret Service is $3.1 billion. Now, keep in mind this is massive, right? There are a lot of countries who doesn't have armies that cost $3.1 billion. So, considering that Secret Service has a lot of money that's been poured into Secret Service, not sure they are making good use of that money. Now, having said that, let's explore some of the new evidence that we have seen so far. So we know that the sniper was actually discovered probably 30 minutes before. The sniper was marked as a person of interest, and the sniper was actually discovered with a rangefinder and a scope long before he actually made shot Trump, right? So we know that that evidence has emerged. We also know that just before the shooting, couple of minutes before the shooting, a lot of people actually saw this person with the gun, right, on the roof, and they alerted the police, right? We know that. So again, police were warned at least 86 seconds before the gunfire. We know that, right? Uh, so these are all the evidence right in front of us right now, right? um, there is no reason to believe that this was not avoidable. This was completely avoidable. People knew about this person during this event long before the shooting happened. They knew that this person had the gun many minutes before the shooting happened. They had police deployed to take care of this person. So there was an absolute command and control failure. But before we go into all those details around command and control failure, let's actually look at how does actually Secret Service operate, right? So Secret Service works in three different steps. One is intelligence gathering. So we have Secret Service actually works very closely with NSA, Homeland Security, FBI, to gather data around threats. So, for example, let's say you would have heard that they claim that there was a threat on Trump's life by Iran plotting to assassinate him. So those kind of threats will either come from CIA or FBI, and they will be fed to Secret Service, who will then create operational plans to protect their asset, right? So via help of various agencies in the United States like FBI, Homeland Security, NSA, you know, sometimes even the military, um, the DEA, they gather intelligence, strategic intelligence. Strategic intelligence is something where, for example, somebody may say that, look, the environment is bad, right? So because the environment is bad, there may be lone wolf attack. Because the southern border is open, there may be terrorists who may have come into the country, because of which the threat perception might be higher, right? Then there is tactical intelligence. Do we know for sure that somebody is plotting against Donald Trump or Biden or somebody else, right? Um, then there is operational intelligence, right? So all these feeds into the operational plan of Secret Service. Then we have pre-sanitization, right? So what that means is Secret Service will go and visit the place, right? They will know the itinerary of their asset. They will know when this asset will, in this case, Donald Trump would reach Butler, Pennsylvania? Where would they come from? What's the exit path? What's the backup exit path? They will plan, and they will plan like, okay, where is this? This is happening in their fairgrounds. Fine. So what's the elevation of fairgrounds? What are the vantage points in the fairground? Where can a threat emerge from? Right, there can be a bomb blast, so you need to actually figure out if there's a mechanism to plant a bomb, and they need to sanitize the place in advance. They need to understand, okay, there could be an enemy sniper, right? So where the sniper shots can come from, so that they actually put counter sniper processes in place. So there's a planning and pre-sanitization that happens. And then there is the operation itself, when you need to protect the assets, right? By employing technology and by employing humans, right? And so let's understand how. And another very important point to raise is Secret Service often works very closely with state agencies, with U.S. Marshals, with local police, municipal police, the local sheriffs, other federal agencies, uh, to provide them assistance during pre-operations as well as during operations. So what I mean by that is, let's say they determine Trump has some threat, right? And they can deploy, let's say, 20 people to protect Trump, and maybe 5 vehicles to protect Trump. But they determine that this 20 people that they are able to provide will not suffice. They need more people to protect, let's say, the perimeter, to protect, to go and investigate some issues or some persons of interest and make sure they don't come and disrupt the venue. So they enlist the help of all these agencies. The problem in this particular case that I found out is, they had the state agency, they had the local agencies, local police, but they happen to be on different frequencies. What I mean by that is, the local police was not in the same frequency as Secret Service. Similarly, the state agencies were not in the same frequency as Secret Service, right? They were all in different frequencies. So if a local police sees some threat, he or she cannot communicate immediately to Secret Service. We also know that in one particular case, a local police had taken a picture via their mobile phone. And since there were no way to communicate this very effectively, they had to send this picture to Homeland Security. And then Homeland Security had to forward it to their ops headquarters, somebody, the leader, the local leader who was manning this operation, which in turn had to communicate with the counter snipers, right? So the communication here is extremely poor. I don't know how the communication is very poor. Maybe you don't want all your Secret Service and all your police to be on same frequency. However, this cannot be so ineffective, right? There has to be a easier mechanism in which the local police and the state police troopers whom you have enlisted for protection of your asset should be able to immediately communicate a threat to you so that you can take an action. You can communicate, you can uh, essentially have your counter snipers and other assets go and take this threat down. I don't know how this is even allowed. Now, we'll look at the timeline first, okay? And why this timeline actually tells us very clearly that this was a complete command and control failure, right? So, in this fairgrounds, before even Trump comes, this assassin, Crooks, he comes in well in advance, right? Hours in advance. He drives 45 minutes from his place. He comes here and he's been identified as a person of interest because he is doing very suspicious behavior, right? He's trying to enter this place, wandering around. Nobody knows why he's here. He at 5:30 he goes back to his car and he comes back and he's spotted with a laser rangefinder and a scope. So immediately he's flagged, right? Like people, the folks who see him with the rangefinder and the scope, immediately communicates to the higher authority that, look, this dude is here with equipments that are generally used for snipers. But surprisingly, nothing is done. If I would be Secret Service, I would immediately go and take this person away, right? Take him away, right, without any question, take him away, and put him into a room. Don't let him move. Only when Trump departs, do the questioning. Uh, at 5:52 p.m., Crooks is actually spotted near the building in which he climbs and tries to shoot Trump. That's where he's spotted. At 6:02, Trump starts speaking. Right? Imagine he's in near the building 10 minutes even before Trump starts speaking. At 6:12 local time, he takes the first shot. And it takes 8 to 10 seconds after he takes the first shot. The Secret Service snipers take aim and eliminate Crooks. Now, this is shocking to me because the fact that they knew this person is a person of interest. They knew he had suspicious equipment with him. They knew that people have seen him with guns. They, uh, saw him on the roof well in advance, right? Uh, I have no explanation to say like why would they not at least detain him? Like, okay, fine, you don't want to eliminate him, but for God's sake, detain him, right? So this is the lay of the land here. So this is the fairgrounds where Trump was giving the speech, and I've marked uh, in different colors the different kind of people and units that were deployed. The ones in red were essentially the close protection. The ones in green were the counter assault teams. The ones in blue were the counter sniper teams, and the ones in then you have the police at different locations in the fairground, like they were outside the perimeter, right? Now, interesting, I feel the perimeter they have chosen is less than 150 yards. And the question is, I think the reason they've chose this 150 yards perimeter is because I saw that this is an airport. This is a local municipal airport, and they have fencing around the airport. So what they did is conveniently chose that, okay, all the Secret Service agents will remain within fencing and the police will be outside the fencing. I think that's honestly the criteria. The Secret Service head, she gave some bogus reason as to that, okay, if Secret Service is deployed on the roof of the other building, the roof was sloped by 2 degrees and they could fall and get hurt. That's the reason, right? That's the most absurd reason I heard. But I suspect that the fencing is the reason why they chose that perimeter. And if you see on the north, right, if you follow my cursor, the place from where the sniper, the assassin uh, took the shot, that is the same place where the police staging area was. So, in fact, that very building in which uh, the sniper took shot had police and Secret Service agents. That doesn't even make sense. Like, how could you even let this happen, right? So let's look at the map a little bit more, right? This place. So if you can see, this is an airport. This is a runway. Butler Show Farm, runway 36 and 18. And there is a perimeter all around this place. And this is where, in the center, Trump was actually giving a speech. And if you see this place, right, immediately you will notice that the possible threat that one can receive if Trump is giving speech in the center of the farm is actually this building, right? So if Trump is giving speech here and this particular building, if you see, this is 143 meters. This is like nothing when it comes to uh, AR-15, right, with a scope, the kind of weapon that the shooter was employing. So if I'm Secret Service, I would certainly assume that the threat can come from there because remember one thing: if you're looking for snipers, snipers will always take up vantage points, right? So a vantage point is generally a place with a higher elevation where you have clear line of sight, where where a sniper has clear line of sight, but a sniper is able to leverage the slope and the topography to protect himself or herself, right? And if you are Secret Service, you will assume that this building over here and this water tank over here are two vantage points that any assassin can actually use. So you will surely put your forces and have your counter snipers stationed in these regions to ensure that these regions stay protected, or at least you will have police all around these buildings so that nobody can climb on top of the building. Or perhaps I will actually even go and put a police on top of the roof here and on the water tower, just to make sure nobody is able to climb on. Even if somebody climbs on top of this, the police can take them down, right? So the fact that they did not do it, I mean, I think people should be sacked here, because it's not the question about money. It's a question, not question about resources. It's the question about basic common sense here. Honestly, basic common sense, right? Um, let's look in Google Maps Street View over here. This is the building, okay, in front of us, where, and you see this reverse slope. This is where the sniper was in the prone position. It is not a big slope though, right? So, and that's where those red buildings and that you see over there, that's where Trump was making the speech. On top of the red building was the counter sniper, and this guy actually climbs this building right between these two trees. He puts the stairs and climbs on top of this particular building, gets on top of the roof, and takes a shot, right? So if you're standing here, you can clearly imagine this is something that they would do, right? This is pretty evident to me, and I'm no Secret Service or police. This is evident to me. And look at this water tower as well. It's very clear that even this water tower was not protected, right? There was nobody guarding these towers. Like even assassin could have climbed the water tower to take a shot. So you know, I don't know. This is mind-boggling. I don't know how. And more importantly, this was the staging area. This was a police staging area. But unfortunately, the police were inside this building. Why would the police be inside this building? Can somebody explain to me, like, what, were they thinking that the sniper would actually get inside the building and take a shot? And even if you think like that, won't you like station few policemen outside the building, just on the perimeters of the building, just to make sure nobody can climb on top? And if you see this reverse slope, right, what actually surprises me, and another interesting thing is, the slope is not more than 2 or 3 degrees, with such a simple slope. I would call it nursery slope. Somebody standing on top of those buildings, like the counter snipers, would be easily able to spot the assassin even with the rifle, right? So if you spot something suspicious, take them down, man, take them down. And the other funny thing here is, the police, there was a policeman who climbed on top of this building with the help of you know his or her associate. And this person climbs on top of this building over here, and the assassin turns the weapon towards the police, and the police gets scared, jumps back, and in like within 10 seconds, the assassin turns back towards Trump and takes the shot. So even at that time, if that police would have, had there been a proper chain of command and a proper communication mechanism, they could have easily informed Secret Service and said, "There is this person with this gun. Take the shot." But they couldn't, right? Imagine such a colossal failure. Even if you do imagine that you do not have a mechanism of communication, you just take your gun and take 5 shots, right? Just throw random shots on the roof. Like, bend down, don't expose your head, just take some shots. Even if you don't hit this person, you make a lot of sound and you alert the Secret Service sniper, that there is a person who's trying to assassinate Trump. I mean, it was just not a failure on one level, it was failure on every single level, right from communication to command and control to following basic operational procedures. I'm not even, focusing on the bumbling Secret Service agents who couldn't like put their guns properly or hold their guns properly, were totally confused, didn't know what to do. The agents who were providing the close-in protection did not know how to take their asset back to the vehicle. They when they tried to take the asset, that asset's head was exposed. So I'm not even talking about that. That is training deficiency, right? You can possibly fix those training deficiency, but the fact that there was command and control deficiency, there was operational deficiency, there was intelligence deficiency, that calls into question the leadership itself. I think Secret Service leadership needs to be sacked. There needs to be fresh leadership who can review how the processes have gone wrong, how operations have completely gone wrong, how nobody seems to know how to manage this anymore, um, and fix this whole problem. So I would certainly encourage the Biden leadership to suspend, if not fire, all the top bosses of Secret Service and reconstitute the Secret Service leadership. They also need to look at what's going on in Homeland Security, because if you do not correct it, it's not about Democrat versus Republican, right? It's it's a question of United States democracy. Democracy is in line. If you do not address this problem, today they have failed in this, it, you know, assassination attempt. It's just by God's grace that Trump is alive. If the assassin would have succeeded, this would have resulted in a civil war, for sure. Now, it can happen in the opposite direction as well. Somebody can take Biden down. Somebody can take the next Democratic nominee down. Somebody can actually take a foreign agent down, a foreign leader down, right? Secret Service also provides protection for foreign dignitaries and leaders. And would you let that happen? Because if this is not the first time they found a major deficiency in Secret Service, a couple of years back, if you remember, Secret Service, they were found doing debauchery. Now there's massive operational failure. There are a lot of people leaving Secret Service, good agents leaving Secret Service. There is a lack of faith in Secret Service on their agency leadership. These don't augur well for the stability and democracy of United States. If you want to make sure the republic and the democracy in this country remain stable, if you want to earn the respect of the world, if you want to remain a world superpower, this is key to that. If you ruin your Secret Service, if you cannot protect your leaders, then I'm sorry, United States cannot remain the most preeminent superpower in the world. It would be a laughing stock, right? So I would urge Biden leadership and the Democratic leadership to examine this very closely and completely reconstitute Secret Service leadership as soon as possible, as early as possible. Namaste and Jai Hind.